Hello, and welcome to a new BTFO. Today we're going to be talking about The Materialists, um, a 2025 comedy starring Pedro Pascal, Dakota Johnson, and Chris Evans. And I guess right up front I should say I use the term comedy very loosely with this movie. Um, I would not recommend The Materialist. If anything, I would recommend that you stay away from it. I think it is a very, very cynical film that I think kind of hates its audience. Where I don't know the behind the scenes from it, but it very much, at least to me, feels like the kind of movie where A24 is trying to expand their catalog, and so they said, hey, we want to make a romantic comedy. And whoever they got was like, I don't know, I'm not really working for A24 to just make, your standard romantic comedy. I kind of want to make a more artsy movie. It feels like they were just kind of told, no, it has to be funny. And so a lot of the lines are, very clearly what the writer sincerely believes, or at least it comes off that they would sincerely believe, the points of view that are being expressed in the movie. But they're, delivered in such a way that it's like, oh, is that supposed to be a joke? It feels like it should be a joke, but no one's laughing. And I should say that I saw this in a full theater. It was on a discount day, but the theater was full of people, and even at the more funny parts of the movie, only half the theater was really laughing. And it was just, it's very cynical, and I don't know, you kind of get the impression that the writer just hates human beings in general. It's very almost incel coded, where they try and portray both men and women as just being extremely shallow in the dating marketplace. That women, they only really care about money and your height, and men, they just care about women's age and their body. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that's a choice. And I don't know, it's such a weird, and it's very tonally disjointed too, where there's a period throughout the movie where, so basically the movie is, Dakota Johnson, she plays a matchmaker in New York City, which the setting of New York makes a lot of this very complicated and hard to follow as an audience member who does not live in New York City, where especially when they start talking about money, I am not sure what's supposed to be a joke and what is actually reasonable for New York City. Where, because she ends up getting in a relationship with Pedro Pascal's character, and he has a penthouse apartment in New York City for $12 million. Now, I don't know, I'm not too familiar with the real estate in New York, but I would assume that that's too cheap to have bought a penthouse apartment, but I would also assume it's too expensive to be renting a penthouse apartment, unless maybe he means $12 million per year, Like, maybe it's $1 million rent. But I don't know. I have no idea on that front. Uh, I do know that pretty early on, we see one of the women Dakota Johnson is trying to help. Uh, she mentions that it's just not that unreasonable for her to want to find a man that makes over 150 grand a year. And at least for most of the country, that is pretty unreasonable. Like, most people do not make that. But, like, then we learn later, Dakota Johnson's character mentions how much she makes and says that, like, she's doing all right for herself, but, you know, like, she's still struggling while making $80,000 a year, which it's like, that's, I mean, that's a pretty good wage. Like, you're not, like, I don't know, maybe in New York City, you are struggling, but, like, for the rest of the country, like, 80 grand a year before taxes is pretty dang good. And so, yeah, it's like, jokes like that are really confusing to tell what exactly is a joke, and, like, because then we also get Chris Evans' character at one point in the movie mentions that his 3-bedroom apartment that he does share with roommates, that they have to pull together and, like, to make the rent each month, which is $850 each month. And it's like, that's really fucking good. Like, for a 3-bedroom apartment, like, anywhere in the country, especially in New York City, $850 a month is pretty dang good. And so again, it's like, I don't know really when the film is trying to make jokes and when it's not. Like, it seems pretty, like, early on in the movie, they keep making jokes about, like, women caring a whole lot about men's height, and how, like, you know, some men will go to ridiculous lengths of breaking their legs and having them heal again, like we all learned in South Park, to grow an extra few inches. And then that ends up, like, near the middle of the movie, that ends up being a very serious plot point where Pedro Pascal's character actually did that surgery. And he's like, yeah, it didn't matter how much money I was making before the surgery. Women just, they wouldn't look at me because I was 5'6". But now that I'm 6 foot even and still, like, filthy stinking rich, now I just can't keep the women off of me. And it's like, it's all played very seriously. So it's like, what do you, like, I'm sorry, but what the fuck? Like, you know, it's like, you would think that would be played as a joke, but it's not. It's very serious. And, like, even the response to that, you would think would be played as a joke, but it's not. Where Dakota Johnson is like, oh, that's okay that, like, you got surgery, like, you know, you're not the only one. And she points to her nose, and then she points to her tits. And it's like, I'm sorry, but, like, maybe you needed to cast someone else for that role? Like, don't get me wrong, Dakota Johnson's a very pretty woman, but, like, she doesn't have massive fake tits. Like, so it feels really weird to, like, be telling me as an audience member, oh yeah, she got breast surgery to make her more attractive. It's like, I don't know, maybe she got reduction surgery to make her more attractive, but I don't know, I feel like most of the time reduction surgery is done for, like, logistical issues, but I suppose I'm not a woman and I'm not too interested in the topic of like, breast surgery. But it came across as a weird, like, is this supposed to be a joke? Or are we still in serious mode here? And like the movie, it struggles with that so much, where like we get this weird montage of Dakota and Pedro like going on dates and having fun and doing all this couple stuff. And then they're like, oh yeah, Dakota, one of your clients, like, she got assaulted on one of her dates. And then the movie, like, drastically shifts in tone because they're like, well, there's nothing funny about assault. We need to take this very seriously. And it's like, so I agree with you that assault is a very serious topic, but, like, maybe this shouldn't be in this movie. Like, you know, maybe if you're making a, like, romantic comedy that's, like, very lighthearted, or at least supposedly, like, you know, that's the tone that you want to go for a lot of this, maybe we shouldn't just show in, like, you know, just throw in there that, hey, did you know that rape is bad? It's like, yeah, I think everyone knows that. Like, I don't, and, like, that's the point with the whole assault in there, is just, hey, assaulting women is bad. And it's like, yeah, I really don't think there's anyone in, like, the rom-com audience that needs to know that assaulting women is bad. Like, I think we all get that. I really don't think that the movie benefits from, like, drastically shifting its tone or even really including that storyline, because it basically goes nowhere. And the end of this movie, holy fuck, there were so many points that they could have just ended the movie, but, like, they kept going on, even to the point where, like, the credits roll over a brand new scene that is mostly just people, like, standing in a foyer, like, talking to each other. I don't know, it might have had more than that, but I didn't care to stay. I left as soon as the credits started rolling. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend this movie. It's not particularly funny. It's not particularly compelling. It's just kind of bad all around. It's not funny bad. It's just sad, honestly. It really feels like the writer and the director, maybe, like, both of them wanted to make a different movie, and the studio told them, no, this is the movie you're gonna make. I'm not sure what happened, but I would highly recommend that you stay away from watching The Materialist. So thank you for watching, and bye-bye.